Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for attending this webinar on word of mouth in the hospitality industry. Thank you so much for attending today, and for those ones who will join later or will see the recording, please, you are free to put your cameras on or off. It's completely up to you. We will send you the recording after the webinar. Thanks a lot. Okay, so we are going to talk about the power of word of mouth in the hospitality industry. Okay, and we need the presentation. Okay, so let's talk about why and the three main components of this webinar. The first part, I will be talking about an introduction on the topic, what is this phenomenon word of mouth? And then I will move to the challenges and the advantages that generating word of mouth has for people in the hospitality industry. But most importantly, okay, because if we know the phenomena, we don't know what to do with it. Okay, what can we do as marketeers to influence our clients, our consumers, to talk about us? Okay, which is the important part. Okay, but we need to understand the phenomena as a whole. So, and what is the context? The context is the hospitality industry made up for coffee shops, restaurants, bed and breakfast, and most of hospitality businesses are small, and they have problems because they don't have big budgets. Okay, like big fast food chains like McDonald's or big hotel chains, and they do not have a lot of money to spend on restaurant advertising or hotel advertising. So, and on the other hand, okay, people mistrust advertising a lot. And then you need to differentiate your restaurant, okay, in many ways. Okay, you need to differentiate your restaurant in terms of your attributes. The attributes that the restaurant will have could be about the services that it gives, the food that it gives, but also you can, and this is the most important part, differentiate them in terms of aspects that are more intangible. That's what we call psychological positioning. From psychological positioning, you move into brand building. You build a brand, okay? Build on aspects that people would remember about your brand. And talking about us, okay, myself, Pedro Longard, I am the owner of Longard Consulting, and we're working with Vimita Group. Vimita Group is a leadership consultancy in the UK, and we are working together to consult small businesses and growing businesses both in the UK and in the UAE. I have extensive experience in the hospitality industry. I'm a fellow of the Institute of Hospitality. Primarily, I'm an academic, but with my years of experience and expertise in the hospitality industry, I want to put it for small businesses and who are in need of growing, in need of expertise. So this has been gained over years of experience in the industry. So, and what is the phenomena word of mouth? Okay, this concept academically comes from 1966, and it is about people exchanging information for marketing purposes, and they will influence, okay, consumers. So, and what is the theory behind all of this? The theory is that we cannot influence directly behavior, but the intention towards the behavior. For example, the behavior to visit a restaurant, but we can influence that intention of visiting the restaurant. And how we can do that? We can do that, okay, in one way as marketeers, but we have to be aware of the other aspect of the decision. The first aspect of the decision is what people believe your service should have. And the first aspect that it should have is what they believe, okay, a restaurant, a hotel experience should contain. This is what we call the outcome beliefs. What, if I go to this place, what I should enjoy from the place. And the second part is the referent beliefs. It means listening to people from your group or from a network who may influence your decision to patronize that particular restaurant or hotel. So the two have to work together. For example, I will listen to something that actually goes with my outcome beliefs. If someone is talking about something that of the service that I relate to particularly, I will listen to that more intently than if it wouldn't. So, and after talking about the theory, I will. We need to understand why people give recommendations, because if we understand why people give recommendations, we can influence that. Believe it or not, okay, most people are friendly and want to help businesses, particularly small businesses. They do that because they have some sort of utility or benefit from giving those recommendations. That utility does not necessarily have to be an economic reward, okay, like let's say a free meal or any other type of economic incentive, but it could be just because they have concern for other consumers, or okay, on the negative side, it could be because they have negative emotions about that particular place, about that particular restaurant, and then they vent those emotions, those feelings, and they put it online, for example. Now, as we understand why people give recommendations, we also need to know why people listen to recommendations. Okay? There are several aspects of that. When we look about when consumers make decisions, okay, one of the main primarily aspects is they go for an external search. They're looking for recommendations. Either they go on a Google search, or they're just listening to people who can recommend the restaurant. And that is related to the risk. There is a high risk in products like services, which cannot be tried before. So you have not tried the restaurant before. You go to the place and you find out that the experience is not as you expected. So that's why you feel, if this is a special occasion, I need to be reassured that I'm going to have a good time in this place. Also, you listen to people who can be very close to you, which are called strong ties, or you can listen to people who are not so related to you, which are called weak ties. These weak ties are very powerful as well. Why? Because sometimes you relate more to people who are not close to your circle, because those people may have never gone to that place. Let's say, for example, this is Cusco in Peru, these photographs. Maybe you have never gone there, but somebody's listening. You are listening to someone who has gone there, because in your group of friends, nobody has gone there. Okay. So you will listen to where to go, which places to visit, okay, what is the best restaurant in the area, okay, what places to avoid, and so forth. These weak ties have been studied by psychologists like Granovetter, okay, who wrote a very, very good paper on the power of weak ties. Then, There are advantages of generating word of mouth. Very clear advantages. They look like reliable. They are independent. If they are online, they are accessible to people totally online. You can get there, and but at the same time that there are advantages with word of mouth. There are a lot of challenges. A word of mouth does not respond to rigid planning like in the case of traditional promotions. Let's say if you work in consumer goods, and I know that because years ago I worked in retail. If you are a big company and you have a promotion of 3 for 2, you will know exactly, because of historical data, how it will work. In the case of word of mouth, it relies more on instinct, on expertise, of having worked together, and a lot of trial and error. That's why. And on the other hand, there is a big danger in word of mouth, because your intention is to generate positive word of mouth, but negative word of mouth can be very detrimental to the business. And in some cases, bad is stronger than good. And then you have to work on service recovery, which is another area that I will have another webinar about. When you have negative word of mouth, how you can recover from a bad experience. Okay, that you must have a service recovery strategy in place so that that word of mouth, that negative word of mouth, does not spread. You can stop it before the consumer goes into having a negative experience, right? And then you have to be very, very careful about negative word of mouth. Now, who spreads word of mouth? That's another challenge we have. We have to understand who are the people who can help us spread word of mouth. Okay, according to Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote a bestseller about word of mouth called The Tipping Point. Okay, it's a fantastic book. It was a bestseller, and mainly it's about the power of people talking. Okay, and he goes in history. He categorizes 3 types of people. The first one are the connectors. Connectors are people who have a lot of followers, okay, who are very active in social media, or love to socialize. When you put them in a place for networking, they get a lot of friends and spread that. They're like social glue. They put people together. Okay, those are your normal customers. Okay, and who has a lot of followers, and you would love to have them as part of your network of people spreading word of mouth. Then you have the mavens. Okay, the mavens are not something you can work so directly with. Mavens are like data banks, so people who are experts about a particular topic. In the old times, we had the restaurant reviewers who were very influential, and they were spreading. Okay, that was independent, was reliable, because it was in a newspaper where people were writing, and people were reading the article from this journalist who was so famous as a restaurant reviewer. Okay, and then we have the influencers, which Malcolm Gladwell calls the salesmen. These people are very enthusiastic. They are always wanted to talk about your restaurant. Those are the ones who you may or may not want to get into the influencer marketing, which is again another totally full topic that I would like to talk on another day. So, and then we have what are the aspects that people are talking about? What makes them talk? Okay, and we call it the triggers of word of mouth. And I have a study of triggers of word of mouth. The first part, it's the attributes. What are the attributes of your place? Okay, and which we may call the meal experience if it's a restaurant, or the attributes of your hotel or coffee shops that people are looking for. This is more into the physical positioning, but at the same time, it can have aspects that are totally intangible. For example, ambience and the type of service that people want, cleanliness and hygiene, the atmosphere of the place, the perceptions of value for money. Those are things that make people talk. People can be talking about, oh, this was a great experience and we didn't spend so much money, okay, compared to, okay, another restaurant. So another thing is the where and the context where it happens. Okay, again, Malcolm Gladwell calls it the power of context, the environment, the time when it happens is very important. So we have to consider an event or a time where when people are more prone to talk about your restaurants. There's something about your place that people will talk about at that particular time. So that is the power of context. But thirdly, we also have another thing that make people talk about your place is competitions. Okay, people love to compete for something simple like a free meal, for example. And there are restaurants who have started competitions, contests, and online, and that have been, to some extent, very, very successful. Okay, depending on the context, depending on the country, the city where it happens. And also, people love surprises. Okay, nice surprises. Obviously, I made a study in a research paper when I consider the introduction of a surprise, which could be giving a free starter before the main course, or given a free dessert, okay, after the main course, and actually measure the word of mouth if it was given before the main course or after the main course. In this research, I found out that if you offer the surprise before the main course, it has a significant difference compared that if you do it after the main course. So it means the effort at the beginning, okay, is much more rewarding than if you do it at the end. So people are coming to your place and have that a good feel factor when you greet them with a surprise. So that is one way we can do it. Of course, there is a challenge as well, that surprises have to change over time. And what do we get from all of this? What are the consequences of positive word of mouth? The first thing is having very strong customer relationships. So that means that you will create, okay, people who would talk about you, and you will have repeat custom from these customers. On the other hand, if you do it online, you can create an online community, a greater sense of community, and that will help your brand. That will help your brand. And if you are a new place, you need to create some some sort of buzz, or people talking about your place. That is what we call, you start to need to create brand awareness, which is the first step into the customer journey. On the other hand, if people are talking about your place, you will learn what they are talking about. You will know what are their intentions. That is another positive effect of the consequence of word of mouth. Word of mouth has a challenge of how you measure that. Okay, there are different ways of doing that. There are surveys in which we can use methods or metrics like the Net Promoter Score, and many other ways in which we can do it. So, and finally, I would like to talk about two key concepts that are related with word of mouth, and you need to use them, okay, in your place in different ways. The first one is viral marketing. Viral marketing has a short time effect. It's basically about social media. So promoting your brand and people talking about your place. As you can see, people here are sharing and showing things on the mobile phones that they're sharing. And it's like a virus. It goes very quickly, but normally for a short period of time. Okay. The other one is buzz marketing. Buzz marketing is slower but very important as well, because okay, it's building momentum. Let's say this webinar is part of buzz marketing. It's create an experience that people will talk about. They will be anticipating this experience, and then we will send reminders, and people will, okay, yes, this brand, this particular place, or is having this event. Okay, and then you will say 3 days to the event, 2 days to the event, and the event is today. Then people start to talk about that. You have to work with both at the same time. So thank you very much for attending. And now I would like to know about your questions. Okay, you have a few minutes about the questions. We will get the questions here in the chat. Okay, you can put your questions in the chat. And let's see how many questions we have here. Okay, let's see. Right. Okay. You can always, of course, ask your questions after the recording. After the recording, you can put our questions. Okay, all your questions you can actually ask. All right. Let me get my glasses here so I can read my questions. Okay, yeah, here we are. Okay, no problem. Okay, yep. Okay, good. Okay, and okay, then finally, okay, because there are not so many questions today. Okay, we will see the questions. We will welcome your questions after the webinar. We will be happy to reply to you. You can call us, okay, and these are our details here, or our phone number in the UK. These are our email addresses and the two companies that have participated in this event, Longar Consulting and Vimita Group. So, if you are interested in starting a word-of-mouth strategy in your organizations, and we are happy to help you. But Longar Consulting is not only about word of mouth or only digital marketing. We help you with your business. We can help you with quality management, product development. We start to look at your business model and we work from that onwards. So, and we can help you in your operations. And our starting point is to help a business not offering things that they do not need. For example, okay, we will not ask you to spend money on social media if the main problem is not marketing at the beginning. So if your operations are not right, we have to work on our operations. We have had problems of clients telling us about a very vague concept of targeting. We need to know what your target audience is and present a product that is satisfactory, that meets the needs of that target audience. Then we have to look, if you have a website, what your website looks like, have everything right before we can launch any digital marketing campaign. Yes, we can help you with your social media. We can help you with social media posts, with your Google Ads, with email marketing, if that is what you want to go into, to build your brand. But more importantly, we are going to be very cost effective. Whatever you spend on the fees will have a big return on your investment and will create more sales, more revenue for your business. Well, thank you very much. And I welcome all of your questions, all your feedback. The recording will be sent to you very soon. Okay. Thank you very much. And And I hope to see you very soon. Okay, again with our next webinar. Bye bye now. Thank you.